you are going into battle. The medical council says that use these tools to go for battle. And many doctors say, no, I will not use that tool. I will go get my own tool and use it for battle. And because of that, there's a misalignment with the objectives. So you realize that some people will say, I've read this book cover to cover, and I go like, my goodness, why are you spending all your time reading a particular book cover to cover? A lot of the books the doctors are reading are good books. No problem about that. But what is happening is that there is some information in those books which is not relevant for the exam. So how are we going to make our learning relevant? Number one, just pick your objectives, okay? And now go to whichever book you want to use. And now ask yourself, where in the book is this objective covered? And that is what you need to do. And that is why we've painstakingly done this for free for you. So please, doctors, download it. Now, there's a misalignment with the objectives. For example, there's a popular book, it's called Toronto Notes, right? And I'm going to say this. If you go to cardiothoracic surgery chapter of Toronto Notes, I've read that book. I still have it, and it's awesome. I really, really love the writers of the book. Okay. How does that align with the objectives? For example, let me say this. If you go to the cardiothoracic chapter, in cardiothoracic surgery, the typical candidate will read chapter by chapter by chapter. But there's only one chapter in the cardiothoracic section which is relevant for the QE1 exam. And that chapter is entitled Mediastinal Masses. And why am I saying that? Because I have learned the objectives back to back to back to back. And because I've learned the objectives back to back to back to back to back, I can pick any book candidates are using and can tell that this chapter is what is relevant for the exam. So why am I saying that? Because if you go through your MCC checklist, you will see that there is a chapter called Approach to Mediastinal Masses. All the other chapters, they are good for your medical knowledge, but they are not relevant for the exam. I'm talking about the cardiothoracic surgery. So when candidates use, just any broad medical text or any broad medical book for the exam, what is happening is that there's a misalignment. The reason is because the MCCQE1 has specific objectives that candidates are tested on. Okay, and using material that do not align with these objectives can lead to gaps in knowledge, because what will happen is that a lot of the candidates will then, because they are reading every chapter, they are spending energy on things which are not good or which are not relevant for the exam, and they are spending less time on the things which are relevant. That is the first thing. Number two, you realize that, like this this picture I'm sharing with you, the book is outdated. So somebody has some notes from the year 2000 when they used to write MCCEE, and now QE1 is also written. And in fact, when they even used to write QE2, and people are passing notes upon notes upon notes from generation to generation. Meanwhile, many people don't even know that the Medical Council of Canada, the MCC itself, the information they are sharing, they have updated the information. So the reason why a lot of people are not getting the best out of their preparation is that they are using outdated information. I'm looking at something here. Dr. Miriam said something. I spent a month reading Toronto Notes alone, not following the objectives, and made very little progress. Well, I didn't say it. Dr. Miriam is saying it. She's had an experience and she's sharing her experience. Look, doctors, but you can use Toronto Notes in an awesome way by picking the objectives and going into Toronto Notes and rather asking yourself, which chapters in Toronto Notes align with these objectives? So I'm very glad that Dr. Eugenia is sharing this. And Dr. Eugenia, thank you very much for throwing some light on this. Okay, so medical knowledge and guidelines evolve rapidly. Okay, why you should stick to the objectives. Using outdated materials may result in learning incorrect or obsolete practices, which could lead to errors in answering exam questions and in clinical practice. That is why I am on a journey. I am an apostle of saying, doctors, please stick to the objectives and the objectives alone.